Alright guys, so welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Carlo Nestor here again. So in this video I decided to do a few visitations here and there, and today we are going to be visiting one of the personal brands that has been doing so well in the design space, okay, in the graphic design space. A very wonderful personality. We're going to be asking him some questions, and I believe if you're a designer or you're someone who is in the online market, you're going to learn so much from this personal brand. So I don't know if you're excited, because I am excited. Let's get in and discuss with him. Alright guys, so we are here, and the personal brand I was talking about is Wilson. Okay, it's called Wilson the brand or Wilson Designs, which of them?
Wilson the brand.
Okay, Wilson the brand. So we have Wilson the brand here on set, and I know most of you know him, and most of you have been like, you have admired his design, you have admired his work so far, and you may not know how far he has gone, or the things he had to go through, the milestones he had to pass, the personal branding strategies he had to employ and apply for him to get to the stage he is now. And that is one of the things we're going to be asking him. Let us learn from Wilson and let us know what he has been doing that took him up to this level and made his design so good and gave him the exposure that he has today. So Wilson, we want to ask you, how has been your personal brand journey so far? How has it been? What were your challenges? What was the branding strategies you applied as a personal brand, as Wilson the brand?
Thank you, Nestor, for having me. It's really, I would consider this a great opportunity to talk about myself, especially on your platform. Wilson the brand today is, we didn't start as Wilson the brand. I started as Wilson Designs back then in university. I didn't start designing while I was in university. I started after secondary school. That was in 2015, 2016. But I think what led me to design was a sort of a task at the office where I was doing an advanced program after secondary school. I was actually learning programming. I know a bit about HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and all of that. So, but during the course of the training, our boss had to send out a letter, so he needed a logo, and he asked the guys around the office to design something so he could just send it out. So I came in late. So, and what the guys submitted, they were good, but I decided to try my luck. So I designed something, sent it to him. He looked at it and was like, okay, remove this. I removed it, brought it back. That was it. He took the logo and used it up to today. It's what the company still uses as their logo, something I designed over 6 years ago. So from there, the boss told me, was like, why don't you strengthen yourself in graphic design and leave programming? So I kind of took the advice. I was really deep into programming at the time. I had built my own personal website. I programmed my own personal website at that time. So I decided to switch roles and started designing every publication material the company needed. I basically was working for free. Okay, so and also my church. When I mentioned to my pastor that I was also into designs, he gave me lots of tasks. Like from that moment I mentioned that I was into design, he started giving me. He asked me, okay, to redesign the church banner that was in front of the church. I redesigned it, and he only paid for the printing. I brought it and we set it up. It was like 2 years ago that we changed it. It's been like that since then, but I wasn't making money from it. I was basically having fun. I was basically having fun with the church work and the office work. I like both people, my pastor and my boss. Then they gave me that opportunity to explore, to make mistakes, and correct myself. Sometimes when I do my designs and I go to show it to my boss, the other guys in the reception will just be waiting for me to come. When I come out, they will just laugh, or like they will know by the expression of my face, they will know that he did not accept the job. So it was like the devil's incarnate in this journey. He would always say no, make me put in more work and improve. So that was it. I got into school 2016, same year 2016, and I was just there. A few persons in my department knew I was into designs, but for me, basically, every day I designed every day. I designed every day, even till today, except some, even no matter how lazy I am, I still try to design, to do something. And but then, like I said, I wasn't getting money from it, so I was basically just there.
Just designing.
So 2018, it was the SUG elections, and somebody asked me to design their poster for them. So I did the poster, and the guy paid me, I think, 500 naira for it. So that was basically, I think that was basically the first time I kind of monetized my skill in school. You know, some, not as some people have paid for my skill outside school, but not like I was the one that charged. You know, maybe because of my boss. You know, I did it, and then they give my boss gives me. So other people got to know that, okay, there's a designer in school who can do this for me. I started working for a lot of persons, got really busy, and also started printing for them campaign posters and all of that. So that was basically how I now started surviving in school. From my 200 level, I stopped going home on weekend basis. You know, like unlike my 100 level, I was going home every weekend. I was coming by. I was in Funai. I was coming to Abakaliki every weekend, and go back on Sunday or Monday morning. And funny enough, yeah, this is like the first time I'll be mentioning this outside. My weekly allowance was like 1,015.
Wow,
1,015.
it's plenty.
which would finish on a Monday, and I'll just have to hold on till weekend till they send something. And so basically, when I started monetizing my skill, I stopped, asking for allowances, except when you really choke. You get. So, and as God would have it, like it was as though anytime I was low on cash, somebody called me. We need a design. A church probably wants to do something. The chapel want to do something. Some people, departments want to do something. They call me, do this design for me. So basically, on almost every WhatsApp platform in school, my design was there. So that was kind of how my name started spreading. A lot of people knew me without actually knowing me. A lot of people did, because as at that time I started putting my logo on my work, so people could. So I remember this incident in 300 level when I walked into Backgate, and some guy just says, it was Michael. He was like, Wilson Designs. I turned. It was like, this guy, like this is the number one designer I rate in this school. I'm the second person. He said he was the second person. I was the number one person. It was, the hype was too much. So I didn't take him seriously though. I didn't take him seriously. So, but then the guy had so much respect for me when it comes to design. So he actually sought my advice and all of that. So the university days was just, I was monetizing my skill, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to really take, because okay, I wasn't even paying house rent. So then so I was squatting with my guys. So in 2020, during the lockdown, that was when everything sort of changed, because we were at home. I attended a conference online. I think it was Cree Innovation. Yeah, we had the likes of Tola Alabi. We had Believe Stanley. Believe Stanley was the host. There were 7 other facilitators who came to the conference. So they talked about a lot of things. Vicky Bills. I got to meet a lot of persons that I know online right now. By joining a brand varsity community, a design community for designers. Yeah. So that was where I started putting my work and had my work criticized. It helped me improve. That is a stage though. It's a stage where you have to put in your work for criticisms, and there's a stage where you send in your work as inspiration. There's a stage you put in your work to be criticized, and there's a stage you send your work in
to inspire people,
to inspire others. So that I have seen myself grow up to that point, and it's really, I can really say it's a game of numbers, and by numbers I mean years. So having stayed for 6 years doing this, and starting professionally in 2020, I would say I started professionally in 2020 when I got to know what I was doing. I started to learn design rules and all of that. Basically, I'm self-taught. I've never paid anybody for a class to teach me design. The basic knowledge I had from secondary school, that's what has sustain me, and also YouTube, Google, all these platforms have helped me. I've not paid anybody to teach me design. So uh, that transcends even to the new skill I have now. I'm a UI UX designer, and I charge premium for that skill, and nobody taught me.
Mm.
I learned online. So it's sometimes when I see people always clamoring for what did I say, classes and all of that. There's Google, there's YouTube, and then if you want a person who should teach you, you should know that you should be ready to pay, what is worth their time. I can't, for instance, I can't be going to Tola Labi to tell him, sir, I want to learn from you, I want to learn from you. His logo design class for 2 months or 1 month is 30K, and then his premium mentorship is 150K. So if I want to be having that kind of conversation with him, I should be ready to have that. If not, I should look for a solution elsewhere. All right. So the journey so far hasn't really been rosy, but it gets easier along the line. It gets really easier because one is that I have been doing this for a long time, and it has become easy because I've been doing it for a long time. So most people find it challenging because they don't want to be in the process. They don't want to follow the process. They don't. Although I know that mentorship helps you cross a lot of hurdles, because there's a girl I teach now. She signed up for my class, and signing up for my class means signing up to my mentorship. There's a design she sent me one time. I was like, "Are you the one who designed this?" She said yes, and wow, okay. I was really impressed because I knew at my level, when I was at that level, I would not have put such a stunt. But because she had me, teaching her and providing her with all the materials, she kind of aced that within a number of months. This is our 1 year. This year is our 1 year. She learning under me. So, and it's something we started last year November, and it has been a continuous process, right? So, for my graphic design journey, that's all I have to say. It wouldn't be complete without those persons I mentioned initially, my boss, my pastor, and then the design community I joined in 2020, and then a lot of other amazing persons I've been seeing online, Instagram. Basically, I tell everyone that the easiest way to grow it is replication. If you see something you want to attain, try and replicate it. See a design you like, try and do the design. By trying to do it, you learn how to do it. You learn how to do it, and then you see how it's shot. Like, for instance, most times people think I use Photoshop to design. I don't use Photoshop to design. I use Photoshop to design, but not professionally. Most of my designs are primarily CorelDRAW, and some of the designs I copy, or I kind of draw inspiration from Photoshop design. And sometimes I watch Photoshop tutorials just to do it on CorelDRAW. So basically, it gets easier as you do it. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Wow, interesting. It gets easier as you do it. All right. So the second question is, but before I say that, I don't. Most of you know that I'm always talking about Wilson on my status, and I'm always fighting him. This is the Wilson. So after this video, we're going to drop camera and we're going to fight. Okay. So I want to ask, there are persons who are actually starting up online. Okay. More specifically, graphic designers who have seen you and they like what you do and they really want to get to that level. What would be that advice that you are going to tell this startup graphic designer? Like, you are telling this person, this is what you should do now that you are coming up, or someone who already has been there but is finding it very hard to get the exposure, to get the client. Maybe the person is good, might be good, but the person is finding it so hard to get the exposure or get the client, or someone who is just starting up and does not even know where to start from. What advice are you going to give that person?
Advice for coming on startup designers. I would say that if you, like I mentioned earlier, when I started out, I was doing my job for free. Okay, so there's what is called leverage. Okay, there's someone who may not be, but somebody who can offer more than just cash for your service. So you leverage on their position, and then leverage on their position and position yourself rightly. Especially when it comes to getting premium clients. And then also there's a place of consistency. We can't say this enough. Design is not something you do on the side. It's not something you do on the side as like a side hustle. I remember 2020, I was in the bank to make the deposit for my boss then, because I have lots of bosses. I have lots of bosses, you know. There was a boss of mine who housed me all through 2020. Between 2019 and 2020, I was staying with him. So, you know, at that point, I think it was God sent. I was just I was just staying with him. So I do deposits on Fridays. You know, we were in the shop together. We had this shop, Saken. Yes, that's Saken Art and Prints. Yeah, 28 Ogoja Road, Abakaliki. Any kind of thing you want to do, awards, alcohol board, anything you need regards 3D and printing, they are into it. So on Fridays, I would go to deposit the weekly revenue. So the cashier at the bulk room was like, you know, I think that was a strategy because they were wasting my time. So he was like, "What do you do?" I said, "What's your name? What do you do?" I said, "My name is Wilson. I'm a graphic designer." He was like, "Is that your side hustle?" I said, "No, that's my business." So I take it very seriously when it comes to graphic design because this is where my earning come from. This is how I put food on my table. if like I told Mason the other day, like that's how I afford the plane tickets. So you need to understand that there are people who can help you position better, and then you have to grow yourself to that point where they'll be able to trust your expertise. Okay, it's not enough to we're not asking you to prove a point, but rather point to a proof. You understand? So pointing to a proof could be yourself. Like you show that's why we advise people to build a portfolio. Design for free. This is your starting stage. Design for free. Do lots of stuff for free so that when somebody says, let me see your works, you can't say, I know how to do it, but I've not done it before.
Yeah.
So that's why I say replication is important. You can go to a particular page, replicate everything on that page. There are people who are selling design briefs. Adala sells design briefs. So you go there, take briefs and design. So that once someone says, what can you do? Have you done logo before? Do you do flyer designs? You just point them to a resource. You point them to a proof. You just go there and see. So maybe, just maybe, you may not have even earned so much from doing all this stuff. But trust me, it's for your own good. It's for your own personal development. All right. So sometimes I create abstract brands. Although I don't create abstract brands now because I mean you have to pay for that. So, but if you are starting out, create abstract brands. Just do flyer designs for fun. One thing is that you have to enjoy doing this. You have to enjoy doing this. If you don't enjoy doing designs, you shouldn't be doing designs. If you don't enjoy what you are doing, you are forcing it. So you'd always have creative blocks. You'd always feel frustrated. You know, especially when the money isn't kicking in ASAP. I know a designer on my timeline, Davio White. Davio White is 2 years into design. Started designing in 2020 and this is his second year into design, but he's made a lot of wave in this industry. If you go online, search Davio White, his course on UI UX design, just that he released about 2 months ago, has raked in 2.1 million naira for him. And I believe he got into that fit just from being consistent and being dedicated with what he's doing. So if you want to grow, build stuff. If you're a designer, design stuff. If you're a programmer, build stuff. Whatever, like, so that you don't have to explain yourself all the time. You just point them to a resource or somewhere so that you know the closing will be faster.
Wow, I really believe like we're learning so much from this. So finally, would love to know like what is your design process like? Like how do you design when you get a design brief? What do you do? How do you get your creative juices on? How do you just work when you get your brief? What is your design process like? How does it look like?
Oh. Well, I don't think I really have a laid down design process for now, but I know one of the first things I do is to note it down. I write it down. Like this, they were much when you guys came. I already downsized it to 3, and after that, if it's a logo, I get to sketch the logo, or at least write the name of the logo, so I can See, now the second thing is to do. I think I'm not saying this because it's not out of pride, but out of when it comes to flyer designs, I've come to a level where I don't really necessarily need to go and start researching or looking at somewhere else to get inspiration. Sometimes I just design from scratch. I build my designs from scratch, and maybe because over the years I've looked at a lot of stuff, and because I'm always scrolling through Instagram every day and seeing a lot of beautiful stuff, those things get to stick. So I don't need to even go and look again. So I just come up with something. And when I create a new brand, if I created your brand and you're asking me to do a flyer design for you, so it's a lot easier to be creative with that. So I think one of the best, like I said, is to write it down, then you go ahead and make a research. Once you've made a research, you made your sketch, and then you go into execution. That's basically it.
Well, thank you very much, Wilson. And I believe every one of us here will have learned so much from this personal brand. Okay, your consistency. You talked about leveraging. Talked about just staying in the process. Okay, you may not be seeing the results very fast, but just be in the process. And very soon, once it clicks, it does not end. So I believe we have learned so much from this personal brand, and take home everything you need to take home and work. I believe in you, and I'm sure that you are going to get to the top. All right, so see you in our next video. Thank you.